What a whirlwind of a week. In an appeal decision, the Kansas State Supreme Court sided with Republican lawmakers who claim their newly redrawn congressional map doesn't violate the Kansas Constitution. This means a seismic shift in the political makeup of the Sunflower State. The new map breaks up Kansas' only Democratic-leaning district and moves the typically liberal city of Lawrence into what's called the Big First, the Kansas First District, shown here in light blue, a heavily Republican district covering much of the state. It is a big Republican win, and Democrats in Kansas are going to have an uphill battle for at least the next decade. So let's get to it. Please welcome our roundtable of journalists. Pilar Pedraza is back, senior political reporter for KAKE News, and KMBC9 political reporter Michael Mahoney. Welcome to you both. Mahoney, what is the impact of this decision? We know that critics had argued against this map, saying that it dilutes or weakens minority votes.
Right, and the Supreme Court of Kansas, with a lot of justices appointed by Democratic governors, ruled that was not the case, and the map that was passed by the legislature did not violate the state constitution. The broad impact of this is right here in our area. Number one, the Democrat from Johnson County and the 3rd District, Sharice Davids, lose part of her base in the northern half of Wyandotte County, where there's lots of Democratic voters. She also picks up 2 counties to the southwest of Johnson County, where there are a lot of Republican voters. The folks that drew the map said that she still has a 62% chance of carrying that district. The other big change in this is that this takes the city of Lawrence in Douglas County, scoops it out of the 2nd District, where it has been, the Eastern Kansas District, and connects it all the way out to the Big First in western and central Kansas, towns just like Colby and Fort Dodge and Hayes, and pretty much dilutes the vote from the Democrats in heavily Democratic Lawrence. But this is the map that is probably going to stand now here for the next 10 years.
And Pilar, what's been interesting about this whole fight over congressional maps is that it's really overshadowed the battle when it comes to state legislative maps, which were also redrawn this year. What are you hearing on that front?
Yeah, they had the hearing for the legislative maps in the morning, the hearing for congressional in the afternoon, and pretty much all the articles that you look at are going to concentrate on those congressional maps. Certainly, those are big deal. They're going to matter. But if you really think about what we've seen over the last several years, the closer politicians are to home, the more impact they actually have on our day-to-day lives. You know, this affects all of your House and senators, 125 of them up for re-election in the House, a handful in the Senate. And yet we're getting very little news about what's happening with these legislative maps.
Mahoney, let's talk about Missouri for a little bit, because they went down to the wire with their redistricting, finally got to the governor's desk, now in place, but not any thanks to conservative hardliners who held up the process for months.
Yeah, they wanted a 7-1 map, which would have meant 7 very likely GOP districts and just 1 Democratic district. That would have been the 1st district over in the city of St. Louis. That did not happen, but they did make some substantial changes in this map. That changes the 3rd district now includes the city of Columbia and splits it right down the middle, north and south, basically at the borders of the columns in front of Jesse Hall on the University of Missouri campus. That forced one member that was a Republican that was running for Congress, Sarah Walsh, to drop out of the race because she no longer lived in the district. And there's going to be some dispute about that as well with some other candidates that were running in the 4th district. So we're going to keep our eye on that. And there's the possibility here that this map may get challenged with a lawsuit. But I think that even if that happens, they're going to keep this map in place for the midterms in 2022. But the redistricting dilemma in Missouri tied up the legislature the entire session and was a big factor in the lack of production by Missouri legislators.
Oh, for sure. Pilar, we know the Kansas legislature has to reconvene to just close out the session, but you're hearing they might move on some issues. What can you tell us?
Well, leadership is saying it's probably going to be pretty much a one and done. It's called sine die, and it's basically where they just gavel out for the year and they're done. But I have heard from several lawmakers that say that they have unresolved issues from this session, in particular dealing with fentanyl. We're seeing a huge spike in fentanyl cases. Kansas is the 2nd highest increase in fentanyl-related deaths in the last year and a half across the country. It's something that's really starting to gain a lot of attention. Law enforcement officers are saying we need changes in laws now. lawmakers basically have Monday to try and get something done. There are a couple that have taken this under their wing and say they're really going to push something. And there are also those who are still pushing to try and get a debate in the Senate on medical marijuana and maybe try and get that pushed through.
Okay, we know you'll be watching. Pilar Pedraza, Michael Mahoney, thank you so much.